Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. We are back again for another video as I do a video on our new head coach, of course, recently appointed Andre Breitenreiter. Really exciting time. Obviously a new era is beginning or has begun as of yesterday, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, but I am just honestly so impressed right now with what I've heard from him and things, and we're going to get into it. Like I said, we're going to get into obviously his career as a coach, obviously back to his playing days as well, his staff that he's bringing in with him, and I'll just share my thoughts on the appointment as well as we go along too. So yeah, we're going to get straight into it. So of course, our new head coach is Andre Breitenreiter. Now, obviously, a name that certainly is very unknown in England, but one that is very well known in his homeland of Germany. And yeah, I mean, his CV, let me tell you, is unbelievable. And I think that just looking at his CV, I'm going to go into his achievements as well as a coach of what he's achieved. Yeah, but if you look at his CV, I mean, wow. I'm literally speechless. I literally said that in a low tone, but honestly, I'm just speechless because this guy has been successful everywhere he's been. The winning mentality. You know, he is a top coach, and arguably, and I have to say, and you know, just looking at his CV and what I've heard and things, I have to say he's probably the best coach that I've ever known as a point, personally. I know that obviously we've had very famous Germans in the past, of course, in David Wagner, who, like I say, is a legend. We love him. We'll never forget what he did for this football club. But I think, you know, with this guy, he comes here already with a massive CV in terms of achievements, and it's just so exciting. So yeah, like I said, I had to do my research. I had to do a lot of research on the new coach. Obviously, I didn't have a clue who he was, and what I will say is, before we kind of get into him and obviously more details about him and his achievements, I think when we was obviously talking about, you know, the managerial situation and which avenue would we go down in terms of, are we going to go for somebody that's experienced in the Championship in England? Are we going to, you know, go for somebody that's a bit left field, or we're going to go for somebody that's, you know, already at a club but hasn't managed, you know, obviously at this level? There were various avenues to go down, and I did say that I probably would have preferred somebody with Championship experience. However, and that's a big however, I think you have to. I was never actually ever against going this way with this manager, because, like I say, he's very kind of like you know, obviously it's a very somebody that we haven't heard of, you know, that kind of approach. And I was never against that. Left field, it was very a left field appointment. But I was never against that. I thought, you know, we've seen it in the past how it's worked. And, you know, the fact that this guy has what he has on his CV as well, that almost instantly overrides the experience in the Championship in England for me. Because if somebody's achieved, I don't care where you've achieved it, if you're achieving at every club you're going at, you know, every club you've been at, then you have to have something about it. You have to know what you're doing. You have to, the attention to detail, the winning mentality, you know, the details that you go into in training and what you want from the players on the pitch. It isn't luck, you know. It isn't luck having continuous achievements, and I think that. So for me, I love the approach the club has actually gone with this, because I think that I've always been big on, ambition. We want somebody that wants to win, that winning mentality, that has goals, that has goals to achieve greatness, and just that high standards that you want from the players. That I've been talking about this for so long now, this season especially, because like I said, the standards have been so low this season with previous coaches that, yeah, it's been very, very demoralising. But yeah, so look, I'm very much aligned and very much excited by this appointment, and I think that the way the club have gone about it has been actually very, very top notch, really, hasn't it? It's been really good. So you've got to give him credit there. But yeah, I'm kind of going off on one, but I just wanted to share my thoughts on that, because obviously I was mentioning championship experienced managers, but I'd rather have a manager that hasn't been at this level, that's been very successful wherever he's been, rather than the managers that we were linked with, that yes, they've had success, but they've had success in, I'm not taking away from any success that anybody has, but the people that was mentioned, they've had success, but they've kind of, had a very good team. They've had a lot of money spent. With this guy, in another country, of course, in different leagues, he's achieved with a bit of money, but he's achieved with very little, very little budget, I would say, from my understanding. Then anyway, so yeah. And with the names that were on the list, I was not really infused or, kind of excited, maybe the best word for that, about any of the names that were on the list, really. I know obviously I mentioned a few previously, but they weren't names that really stood out for, oh yeah, they're going to be a fantastic fit for us, So I think that's ultimately why the club have kind of looked elsewhere, and they've looked at outside options. And they've seen this guy, and they've kind of thought, wow, we have to have a meeting with this guy. We have to talk to him. We have to see what he's about and things. And obviously the rest is history. He is, of course, ours now, which is just brilliant. And I say that I'm kind of smiling right now. That it just feels such an exciting period and era that's about to begin. And we're gonna get into him anyway now. I'm gonna kind of save some of my thoughts for a bit later on, because I'm kind of just going off on one now. But yeah, like I say, he is of course 50 years of age. He is obviously from Germany, as I said. Started his coaching career in around 2010, the 2010-11 season. He's worked mostly in Germany, but also spent some time in Switzerland with FC Zurich, and we're going to get into those clubs that he's been at and the achievements he's had at those clubs very, very soon. But yeah, I think also something that I want to mention as well is, before we kind of do that, he's already kind of got a connection with the club. He knows the club. Obviously, he mentioned in his interview and then press conference today how he in 2016 actually visited Huddersfield and obviously came to a game. He can't remember which one, he said. Obviously being good friends with David Wagner, of course, when he, that was the time he was there here. Obviously the promotion winning season, of course. So I think the fact that he's got a connection already with us, I think it's just totally unique and special already before, and it almost feels too good to be true, but it is true. It is true. It's actually happened, and I love stories like that. I think it's just a lovely kind of. He's had an introduction to the club, and now he finds himself, what is it, 8 years down the line, he's actually managing it. He's actually the head coach. So it's just so strange, isn't it, how things happen sometimes? But yeah, so yeah, like I say, he's actually worked. He's actually worked with a former very former employer of ours, very famous employer of ours, for a player in Elias Kachunga, a very fan favourite around these parts. We love him, obviously part of that promotion, winning season 2, getting to the Premier League. So yeah, obviously he's obviously Kachunga knows him very well from his time at Paderborn, where they achieved promotion to the Bundesliga during that time. A promotion as well that no one expected to happen in Germany. It was very much a big surprise, like a fairy tale story all of a sudden, that they managed to get promoted, obviously, from the Championship in Germany, which is obviously named differently over there. And yeah, I think Paderborn, there's very similarities between us and Paderborn. Obviously a club that has always been that underdog, has always, and you know what I mean, kind of a smaller club. I'm not saying we're small, but I'm just saying we are, maybe in comparison to some in the Championship, we are kind of a smaller club in the Championship, I suppose. I don't like saying that because I think we are up there, but we've got to be kind of realistic, haven't we, and kind of say how it is. But yeah, very, very unique story that at Paderborn. And like I say, he did start coaching in 2010. And like I say, he's had success wherever he's been. So I'm just going to go through his clubs that he's been at as well. So he actually started at Havelse, which is a team in Germany in the 4th tier. So right at the very start, he did obviously have a spell there, and then that's when he went to Paderborn, and where Paderborn, he achieved promotion with Paderborn. An unbelievable story over there, and like I said, very similar to our story when we got promoted to the Premier League. Paderborn's story, how they got to Bundesliga, nobody expected it. It was an utterly a big story over there, and like I say, a fairy tale. So very similarities there in terms of those two, us and them. Then he went to Schalke in 2015. Obviously, he was at Paderborn for 2 years. Then he went to Schalke, and he stayed there for just a season. And then he moved on to Hanover. We'll get into Hanover as well, because he obviously did achieve there as well. Zurich as well, FC Zurich I mentioned. So he went to Zurich. We were at Hanover for 2 years, and then he went to Zurich, where he was there for a season, a year, and now he is here. So let's have a look then. So speaking of Hanover, obviously he did win promotion in 2017 to the Bundesliga, which ironically is his hometown club, is Hanover. That's where he was obviously brought up and raised and born there. And yeah, obviously it was extra special for him, he said in his interview that he did yesterday with the club. So yeah, promotions, this is not the end of it, guys, because it just keeps rolling here. But unfortunately, he did have a bit of a break. Apparently, obviously, he was speaking about this in his interview yesterday. I'm kind of referring a lot to the interview that I heard yesterday with this video. He took a long break in football after obviously sadly losing his mum. So that really did hit him hard, obviously, as it would do anybody. So he did take a big break, a lot of time out, and but then obviously he went to FC Zurich, who I've briefly mentioned. He'd actually took 2 years out. He took 2 years out from Hanover to his next job in Zurich, which was Switzerland. So he moved countries, and obviously very close to Germany. I think it's next door, isn't it, to Germany, Switzerland? If it isn't, then I've made myself look a right fool, but I think it is. I'm not very good with geography, guys, but I think it's very close. It's one of the borders of Germany, I think. but yeah, obviously it was at FC Zurich again for a year. But in that year, he won the title in the Swiss equivalent of the championship, obviously the championship in Switzerland. And bear in mind, this was another big story because Zurich, again, a smaller club, very much underdogs from my understanding. And obviously, prior to them winning the title under Andre, they were battling relegation for a number of years before that. So that is the impact, and that is the kind of, impact. I've lost the track of thought now, but that's the impact he has had in these clubs. He's taken clubs that are kind of lingering around the relegation zone, and he's took them to the successful heights of promotions and winning titles like he did with Zurich. So, he's really utilised what he's got, and he's really, obviously got his ideas across of what he expects and things. And like I said earlier, the attention to detail in his coaching and his ideas that he has, that winning mentality, that positivity that he has, the passion that he has for his work, it all comes into it, doesn't it? And, look, I think if you look at his clubs as well, there's so many parallels here with his previous jobs he's done, and now it's the Huddersfield now. So I just, like I said, the fit of this appointment in terms of a manager, a head coach, manager that comes in and kind of fits the bill, as the saying goes. This guy ticks every box for me. He does. He absolutely does. And I think amongst town fans and obviously me included, there is very much, you can sense the excitement, and I think it's the excitement that we got when David Wagner came in, that initials, because when I remember it very well actually, and when David Wagner came in, I really sensed this was the start of something special. Obviously, I wasn't expecting us to get to the Premier League in the time that we did, or maybe I wasn't ever expecting us to get to the Premier League at all, to be fair. I never thought I'd see my hometown club in the Premier League. It just gives me goosebumps still now. But yeah, the fact that he did that, but I just when I say like I sensed something special, I sensed that there was success coming. In however form that was, whether that was trying to get in the playoffs or fighting for promotion like you want to do, or going for the automatic places or whatever, just as a few examples. But yeah, this is a similar feeling, and yeah, it's I don't know. I'm just speechless, to be honest with you. I really am speechless. It's an era that we've once, that we really feel excited by, as I said, and I think that we knew how big this appointment was, and of course we haven't obviously seen the team in action yet under his under him, but I just think the way he speaks, the ideas he's got, the way he comes across, his passion, his enthusiasm, his winning mentality, the positivity that he's bringing as well. You can tell, very upbeat person, very smiley. Wants wants the players to enjoy, obviously be smiling in training too, but also working hard, of course. And yeah, obviously, I will go through the, obviously, as I said, there were an interview out yesterday on the club's channel, and then there was obviously a first press conference today, which obviously we heard from him again. So I'm going to kind of react to that and obviously go through a few quotes that he said in the live stream on Friday night, as we obviously do our match preview to the game against Watford. So I will kind of go into more detail about that, but this is obviously just trying kind of setting the scene, getting to know the head coach, and kind of just sharing my thoughts overall on the appointment and what we've seen so far in the, like I say, he only took training yesterday, his first session yesterday training. Obviously his visa was expected to be ready for Monday, but there was a bit of a delay, but obviously his visa's been granted now, so he was able to start yesterday officially. So yeah, he's only had one session. But yeah, I also want to talk about his staff that he's going to bring with him as well, because obviously, as with any football club, and he mentions this many a times in his interviews that we've kind of seen from him, that it's a team effort. He values who he has in his team, and he kind of knows that it's a team. If he can't do it on his own, he's very aware of that, and he highlighted the importance of of how much his team kind of means to him, and how it's a team effort. So as you can see, I'm trying to just do something. So yeah, one moment, just a bit of a. So the assistant coaches, then we're just kind of trying to get this up now, because I've kind of. Yeah, anyway, we're going to keep going. There we are, look, here we are, we've got it now. I did have notes, but I actually wanted to mention his name of this guy that's come in. Right, here we are. Right, we're back. Just a little bit of not organisation at all, is this. So his first assistant is a guy that is very experienced. His name is Asif Saric. Now, obviously, he comes from Bosnia, 59 years of age. Like I say, a guy with so much experience. Andre and him have worked together and achieved 2 promotions with each other. One being with Paderborn that I mentioned earlier, and Hanover too, which obviously, look, they know each other inside out, they know how they work, and they've achieved, which is just, brilliant. Like I say, he knows how it works to go up, get promoted, very good at preparing training sessions according to Andre, and his tactics, how he views the game. Like I say, very close connection he has with him. And the trust they have obviously is 100% there for each other, which is also key to have as your assistants there. So that is our first assistant to discuss. So the second assistant he's brought in is Thomas Klein, who is a German coach. First time working together actually, but Andre has known him for many years. Was actually a defender in his playing days, playing in the first Bundesliga, which is obviously a championship in Germany, and then the second Bundesliga he's played there as well, which is obviously the 3rd tier. He's also so much experience being an assistant coach. He's worked with some really famous coaches, and he did it well. Apparently, like I said, I don't know much about that. He achieved a promotion with Dusseldorf. Now again, similar story. Dusseldorf, got promotion, kind of very unexpectedly. I believe to the Bundesliga, wasn't it? I think. And yeah, obviously, again, a similar story. Nobody expected it, and there's so many links here with us again, with what we've achieved. What we've done in the past. We like I said, we've going to the Premier League against all odds. So yeah, so he's achieved promotion there. Andre obviously said it's important to have people in your team that know how it works to go, which absolutely, winning mentality, wanting success, have goals, visions. That's what you want, in your coaching team ultimately. Like I say, they know what to do to have this success. They know what it is to do. They know what to do to have that success. Have the foundations put in place and things. And more important than anything, the mentality to win. The mentality to want to win games every single week. Win, and regardless if you don't win every week, which is pretty much impossible, to be honest with you. You may go on and beat and run, but the mentality is always to win. That's the key. So yeah, that's obviously the assistants that he's brought in. Also, he has also integrated somebody that was already at the club in Kevin Russell. He'll now step up to being a permanent member of the first team staff. Like I say, Russell obviously was an assistant to John Worthington over the past few games. And, he wanted, Andre said in his interview that he wanted, that English influences in his staff, because like I say, Andre and his other two assistants there, it's their first time in England, so they're new to it. They, obviously, they haven't worked here before, so they do need that help, that guidance to begin with. He did say maybe for the next few weeks, maybe for the whole season, but he'll make a decision about that in the future. So yeah, I think obviously it is for now, but I don't know if he will obviously stay on. Like I say, Russell is very experienced, by the way. Just a bit of brief background about Russell. He's had a career of over 20 years at coaching in both senior and academy football. Obviously Russell has previously kind of operated as an assistant for Peterborough United, Wrexham, and Cheltenham Town, and also we have got a new goalkeeping coach in Andy Key, who will link up with the first team in the coming days. Like I say, Thomas Klein is still waiting on his visa to be granted before he can start work, so that will be obviously coming in the next, maybe it's already happened, but certainly hopefully before Saturday. So yeah, he should be ready to go. But yeah, Andy Key as well, who is coming as goalkeeping coach. Can't tell you much about him, but yeah, obviously another English influence there as well. Obviously, getting to know him, obviously he's very family oriented, very family man. Obviously, he's been married for a long time to his wife. Like I said, that his family won't be moving over here with him. They'll be making plenty of visits. Football is a very kind of special thing in the family. Very big football family orientated. Very very mad on football. The whole family. Like I say, his wife's still working over in Germany, so obviously she won't be able to move here permanently, but she'll obviously make regular visits, and obviously the family will be coming over as well. Andre said for the first home game, of course, the big clash against our West Yorkshire enemies, in those up the big skip, as we call it, them up the road from us, But that obviously, yeah. So obviously, they will be coming to that game against Leeds a week on Saturday. So that obviously that's their first visit here. His son, obviously, a physiotherapist. His daughter also played football many years ago, but she started to study in Stockholm, Sweden now, studying international management. So yeah, obviously they're all occupied doing their own things, studying, working and things. So yeah, he won't have his family with him, but obviously they will obviously make visits over when they can, of course. I just want to get into his career as a player as well, just to kind of give some background about him as a player. Like I said, very exciting young career as a player before he started coaching. As a youth player, very good talent with high potential. Played for all the German national teams from under 15 to under 21 level. And then obviously he started to develop some injury issues that ultimately cut his career short, unfortunately, and kind of stopped him from playing as many games as he would have liked. Played over 150 times for first Bundesliga, playing for Hamburg in a European Cup qualification game, where he's known by a particular nickname because of this game. So this is a bit of a fun kind of thing. He apparently came on in this game in the 60th minute, and he scored 3 goals in 10 minutes. And so the biggest media in Germany called him the Lightning Bomber. So yeah, just a bit of fun fact there. Obviously, he's got a nickname, and yeah, I just wanted to add that because it did obviously make me smile. But yeah, I thought that was quite fun to include in the video. But yeah, I mean, look, this guy has chosen us over many offers that he actually had on the table. Because, like I say, he did say that. He said that he did have other offers from other clubs around the world. But he mentioned that he's up for a challenge. He obviously wants the club that he's going to be the right fit for him, and ultimately, Huddersfield is that, is that kind of fit for him. He spoke about the fact that working in England is a pretty much a dream come true. It's a big thing it's a big thing for him. Coming from Germany, he called English football the motherland of football, and he's excited by the challenge. He's really, happy to be here, and he wants to help us as much as he can and achieve as much as we can and go for, and be successful ultimately. So, look, it's really exciting. His football philosophy I want to get into next. Like I said, we all know the German way, don't we, really? But obviously I will recap. Obviously, attacking football, he doesn't like going backwards. He said in his interview the other day, which is music to my ears. He doesn't, he doesn't mind mistakes, but he doesn't like going backwards. We have to keep playing forwards and on the front foot, which, yeah, brilliant. Pressing high, obviously, is the key part of the German way. Winning the ball, pressing high and winning the ball, good in counter pressing too. But yeah, like I said, having a clear structure with time where he wants to play very quickly, to create chances, with the next step being to find solutions in ball possession, building up from the back. Like I said, these final steps obviously wants to look for more prominently in the future rather than the here and now, because you simply can't change things all at once, and he's aware of that. He knows that he's coming to a situation where we need results, and he's going to do his absolute best and help us to get those results. Of course, he wants to implement his ideas, and there will be some, he'll be developing those ideas on the training pitch, and but he won't be changing everything all at once, which is what he said, which is what I said as well, because I don't want managers going to change, because ultimately, if you change things all at once, it just backfires. It doesn't. Pre-season is where you start to really get your feet under the table, if you could say so, and really start to get your ideas across fully. But for now, it's just about fine-tuning details, getting some ideas across about what he wants and what he expects, and then building on that really in the summer. And like I say, it takes time to implement these ideas as well, fully as well, so that's another thing to consider. So you've seen the last few games. He wants to continue this and develop details, like I said, details of their own, own ideas there. He wants to develop players ultimately to improve the whole club. Really values the team he has had around him in terms of staff, and he knows that it's a team of success, which I mentioned earlier. He thinks it's positive for the club and wants to go up in a few years. He said this is a goal, but it must be realistic. So he's a very focused, very realistic kind of guy. He wants success, but he's not gonna. He's not. He knows what he's doing. He knows that, look, the task that's at hand now and where we are as a club, success takes time, but as long as the foundation and the structure's being built and, he's building towards something, which absolutely he will be doing, over the next year or so. We hope he keeps, we have him for the full duration. It's successful for him and we, obviously, maybe one day get back to the Premier League. You don't know, do you? So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, as I said, my first just kind of overall thoughts now really on the appointment. Like I said, I've been very, very kind of worried, for this appointment being made because we knew how big it was. This was make or break, because get it wrong and the implications are massive, as we know. If you get it wrong again, then we may find we would have been on the brink of going down ultimately, and that's not what we want. That's not what we want, of course. So I was worried about who they were going to appoint, to be honest with you, because obviously the board and obviously Nagel, they've come under a lot of criticism, obviously, about the previous appointment. I think he was mostly let down by his staff, really, Kevin, to be honest with you, that he brought in with that appointment. So yeah, it was very hard to trust the club to get it right, because they'd started last year, and then before we knew it, there was just a ridiculous decision coming out of the blue, and to do what they did with appointing the previous manager. It was just shocking, so there was zero confidence going into this. But the bottom line is, as I said earlier, I have to give them credit here. I really do, because they knew how big this was, but we haven't actually seen how it will pan out yet. But I think that early on, the impressions here are massive. Absolutely massive. And what I mean by that, they're so positive. Heard from obviously the head coach twice now, Andre, in the space of 24 hours, and obviously seeing, getting to know more in these videos that are being put out, and doing my research as well myself. And like I said, this is a guy that has a brilliant CV, absolutely fantastic CV. He's like I say, he's had success wherever he's been, with clubs that are of that underdog nature of not, and gone on to be successful with these clubs that no one expected to get to the height that they did, obviously with the promotions and the title that obviously he won as well. So he's gone to clubs that he knows would be a challenge, but he's always up for that challenge. And he's always been up for that challenge, obviously, and he's kind of, really, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but he's really kind of, excelled in that role. You know, really looked forward to that role, and you know, and you know. So I think that for me, I'm just really, you know, I'm just really, really happy and excited for this new era. I am, and I think we're definitely in safe hands with this guy. And I know it's very early. It is very early. I get it. Yeah, and we need to obviously looking forward to seeing him start. See the team in action under him on Saturday. But yeah, he's a very ambitious coach, very passionate, he's got an aura about him. He's got a special aura about him when you hear him speak. That's the feeling I've got over the last day where I've heard him. I've just come away from hearing him full of positivity and enthusiasm, and it's kind of just incredible to kind of feel like this, really, after what we've had to kind of endure this season. But yeah, a man with a proper vision, he doesn't like to look backwards. He's only looking forward, positive thinking, positive vibes, and like I say, we'll have to see what happens here, but I just think this is the start of something very special, and it's just nice to have that excitement back again, and somebody that fits the bill, and somebody that will really. I already know we haven't even obviously kind of started to have that connection with him just yet, because obviously he's only just come in. But as games go on, I feel like that connection between the fans and the manager is important, and especially to him. But yeah, a guy full of enthusiasm and passion, and I just love it. I just love what I'm hearing, and we'll just have to see what happens, really. But really ambitious appointment, and I like that. I love I love ambition. I love setting the standards high. I love somebody that has their own vision, their goals, who likes to play attacking football. And I know we told that before, but this guy does. This guy does. Like I say, you don't achieve what he has. As I said earlier, you don't achieve what he has without having something special about you. Let me tell you. So yeah, time will tell, really. Obviously, it's a few days now to prepare for the game against Watford at the weekend. So he'll be, on the training pitch with the lads and getting down to business, if you could say so, and doing what he needs to do to prepare for the game. I think really I've kind of mentioned everything now, to be honest with you. I think I've kind of gone through everything, shared my thoughts about this appointment. And yeah, a new era has begun, and we're gonna, I feel like we're gonna go on a real journey with Andre, and I just can't wait to see how this develops and how this pans out, because ultimately we want to be successful as a football club, and and I really do feel now this time we have the man to do that. But first and foremost, we have to survive. That's the reality. We have to survive this season, and then we build on it next season, and really, we'll have a full pre-season then. So the goal now is just to survive, as we know, and then build on that in the summer. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Obviously, I did want to do a video regarding the manager or head coach. Manager, head coach, I kind of think that they're the same in a way, even though they're kind of slightly different, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I want to do a video on this, as we begin this exciting new time at the football club. I think it's a project that the fans, the players will be aligned with. Everyone will be aligned with this project. That is, we've already heard the early signs of what the project may look like and what Andre wants to happen in terms of his visions, his goals, and things like that. So the project has already been kind of outlined to us to a degree, and it's nice to kind of have that with a manager where he's clear with what he says. He talks so much sense. You can tell he has a big knowledge of the game. Obviously, he's been in the game. He's very experienced, very experienced in what he does. So, he's got all the credentials to be a top manager here. And like I said, we know we have a special connection with with Germany, obviously with David Wagner, with what he did. So this is another German fairy tale, we hope. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, like I said, thank you all for watching. Please do make sure you smash a like, subscribe if you're new, and comment your thoughts down below on this appointment. What you've made of his, just comment what you think about the manager. What you do think. I think we're all in agreement though, really, that this is exciting. That this is going to be this. It just has a sense of a start of something very, very special, and absolutely we hope that to happen. And we'll be behind Andre, and we'll be behind the players, and but the feel-good factor is back, and that will only help results and the team, and the manager wants to have that feel-good factor as well. So yeah, really, really positive signs ahead. But I'm not going to get too carried away. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But I can only say from what I see. And this appointment just has something. There's no comparison to the last appointment we made. This appointment is unbelievable. Like I say, we're very lucky to get somebody like Andre in as well. To be honest, I really do think we are. Because like I say, he did have a lot of offers on the table, but he chose us, and he wants, he wants to do the best he can to help us succeed. So I'm waffling on now, and I'm going to finish up. So yeah, have a good rest of the evening. Obviously, I will be back on Friday night, 7 o'clock, you know the time, for my live match preview. So join me for that. We'll go through a few of the quotes that was said in the press conference today, and maybe touch upon the interview that he did yesterday as well, and then yeah, we'll obviously get into the game this weekend as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But yeah, thank you all for your support. Thank you for watching, and as always, up the town. I'm trying to think of what I could say. Andre's Barmy Army, Andre's Blue and White Army. There we are. I don't know. I think that's what we should. That's what we should be chanting again. So yeah, have a good evening, and I'll see you all on Friday. But yeah, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you very, very soon. Let's go.